TPR, props, underlining, puppets. Oh my goodness, so much to juggle. No worries. In today's video, I am going to give you 5 tips to have a successful first lesson. If we haven't met, my name's Audrey from teacheraudrey123.com, and on this channel, you will find videos about teaching, creating, and inspiration to keep on keeping on. So, I remember my first lesson and having so much fear, but excitement and anticipation and watching all the YouTube videos. And I think that was the number one mistake I made. If I could go back and redo it, I would pick 1 or 2 teachers to watch and implement their strategies and build some confidence, and then reach out and learn from other teachers. Now I'm going to share the 5 tips that I have for you to have a great first lesson. Okay, so tip number 1 is to celebrate and be thankful. I have learned that getting your first booking is a big deal because you've either had to wait an extended amount of time to finally get that first booking, or you were fortunate enough that that booking got snagged quickly. Either way, it's out of our control and it's something that we can be thankful for. And I feel like when we cultivate a thankful attitude as we build our business, it helps eliminate the unnecessary stress and to just keep on taking the next step. Tip number 2, get Slidekick. Slidekick is a great resource to supplement your teaching and having props related to the lesson without spending any money and not having the clutter in your teaching area. If you want to learn more about Slidekick, check it out here. This is an easy way, even for those non-tech savvy people, to integrate technology and digital effects into your classroom. If you have questions on this, watch the video, like I said, and then email me, and I would be happy to help you get started. Okay, so Sidekick will only count for 1 prop. So you will need to find an additional 2 at least or more to use throughout your lesson. Remember that VIPKid requires you to have 3 to 4 props. You can use a dry erase board and a marker. You can have some dolls. Just figure out what you have. Remember, you can keep it simple and still meet the requirements of VIPKid. Don't get intimidated by all the options that are out there. Explore them slowly and then decide which ones you want to integrate in your classroom. Tip number 3, make sure you have a secondary reward. Now, you can use stars that you show throughout the lesson. You can do points. You can watch this video to get more ideas. But figure out some fun way to engage and reward the student when they are meeting the objectives and participating well. Remember, when you reward your student, tell them what they're getting rewarded for. Good job, Johnny. You spoke in a sentence. Or, Johnny, I liked how you said, and definitely do that even more when you've been practicing and practicing and practicing and they finally have the good output. Praise them really good, big. And remember, with that being said, to use your rewards and your stars, but then also lots of verbal praise. That helps keep the lesson fun and engaging. And just a little side note from my experience is if I do a lot of praising throughout the lesson and high fives and thumbs up, and I forget to do the stars because that does happen, I haven't had any complaints about that. Does that mean that a parent will never complain? No, and I'll just take the hit. But it's good to know that if I'm engaging, encouraging, praising when I want, that it's okay to focus on what's important and not get bogged down with the rewards. Okay, so tip number 4. We want to review the lesson and make sure we know the objectives and know when we're using the props. So, one thing I like about level 2 the most is that there is a slide that has all the objectives. So, you could look at this slide and know what props you're going to use, what TPR you're going to use, and what you need to do for the students. Now, you still need to, as you're starting out, go through each slide and see what you need to do and what the students expected to do. Now we are going to look at a level 3 slide. Okay, so this is a level 3 slide, and you know it's level 3 because they are all purple. Now, please note that as you will see, there is not an objective page in here. So you can actually look in the prep materials of your portal of when you go to your lessons, and you can see class notes, an outline, props, rewards, tips and tricks, feedback, and other. Um, Different teachers who have taught these lessons have entered their thoughts and what has worked well or ideas on how to teach a certain slide, and you can glean some good information from this. Now, please note that um, you will find some teachers that do a lot of prepping and a lot of printing out or writing out the note cards and stuff. And I tried all those different things in the beginning, and I don't do any of them now. It actually was not beneficial and kind of wasteful, and I didn't even refer to the cards. So, what I would recommend doing is having a pad of paper and just taking a couple notes if you want to, or getting those sheet protectors and putting a piece of paper in it and writing some notes on that to help you refer to. But I wouldn't write out all the objectives and stuff because, as you will find, each kid is different, so you're constantly adjusting and tweaking. So I feel like if you look over the slides and know the objective, and even if you just go to VIP Kid Basics, repeat, repeat, ask, or here's a question I ask, you're meeting those expectations. And then if time allows, then extend where is needed. Remember that the first few lessons will be rocky, but you will learn and get your confidence and learn how to relate to the students. And if starting out simple, you feel like you need more after some time, then go ahead and do it. And even if you don't want to start at simple and you want to follow someone else's lead, you can. But I just want to encourage you, like, I wish I knew it could have been done without spending as much money up front when I started, and even just time. Tip number 4, make a post it reminder. There are 3 tips that I believe that you should have in every single lesson to do well and to please the parents. Number 1, write on the screen. Be sure on every slide to make some type of marking or have the student make markings to check their understanding. Number 2, TPR. This is a way of engaging our student and getting them to make connections with the words. You remember you want to use educational TPR and instructional TPR. If you want to learn more, watch this video up here. and it will give you some ideas and the background and reason for TPR. The most important one is time. Watch your time. Now, some teachers will close the bookings right before and right after. So if they end up going over, they will be okay and they can adjust as needed. Now, some teachers also just jump in, and if they book back to back, they just make it. I really suggest both. Whatever you feel more confident with and can be okay with. You are risking maybe being late to your next class and getting a teacher no show. Um, but the likelihood of that happening if you practice and you're watching your time isn't a big deal. And if you were to go longer, it's better for you to cut the class short and say bye, Johnny, and jump into your next class than to finish the lesson and not show up. Because if you don't show up, that's called a teacher no show, and you get points against you, which isn't good, and you have to pay the company for not showing up. So you don't get paid and you have to pay an additional. So you do not want a teacher no show. So that is why it's important to watch the time. You want to do about a minute on a slide. And I always check in too at the 15-minute mark and see where I'm at, because I may need to slow down or speed up, and I can adjust appropriately. If you are doing these three things and you did the other tips, you are going to do a great job in your class. Okay, so tip number 5, write really good parent feedback. You just taught a great class because you integrated the tips above and you applied what you've learned through VIPKid. So you want to make a good last impression on your parents so that they will want to rebook you. I suggest that you watch this video up here on how to write effective feedback. Some pointers to just take away right now is: 1, praise the student. Talk about how delightful it was to have him or her in your classroom. Number 2, point out what they did well. Even if it's a little thing, if they interacted in any way, point that out. Number 3, write what they can work on and give them a suggestion on what that looks like. Now, you may be like, Audrey, I don't have an education background. What does that look like? Keep it simple. It can be have them find, if it's a younger level, it could be have them say words that begin with B, or practice writing their numbers 1 through 5, or whatever their vocabulary words are. Have him practice saying these words. Or when you're out and about, name the vehicles you see: car, truck, train, subway. It can be just be creative, and it doesn't have to be elaborate. It could even be have your student read for 10 minutes each day, because reading helps your student build their vocabulary and increase their confidence. And then when you close your feedback, you want to end it with a positive note, another thing they did well. And then you want them to ask them and invite them to book you again. You and what I typically do, and it seems to work on most, is to tell them what we will work on. So if there was one area that I noticed, I would say, in our next class, I am going to try to get Daisy to repeat full sentences. I look forward to seeing her next time. Please check my schedule and book with me. Bye and happy learning. That's kind of how I end my feedback. And that can just help you make that connection. You can also leave a closing video to your students, and you have access to that in the VIPKid app. Okay, so there are the tips to help you have a successful first class. Now remember to set your alarm, maybe 2 or 3, and get yourself up in plenty of time to just let the nerves settle down and so you can take off and do well and not be rushed if you run into some technical difficulties or something like that. It shouldn't happen, but you never know. I hope that you found this video helpful. You are going to do a great job in your next class. I am so excited for you. And please, in the comments below, let me know how your first class went. Tell me what went well and what you want to improve on for your next class. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it and found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't, subscribe to my channel. Also, if you have someone who might benefit from watching this channel, please invite them to come and subscribe and join our community. Thanks and have a great day. Bye. See you later.